Hello, I'm Jyotika. Welcome to Excelling Psychology. In today's class, we'll be going over the most recent Oxford AQA A level Psychology AS paper, the May 2025 paper. You can see the model answers in front of you. The January exams are soon approaching. So, today we will learn how to answer section A in the paper. The model answers are in front of you, but the intent of this lesson, as always, is not to make you memorize these answers, but to show you with the help of these answers how to interpret command terms, how to interpret the marks allotted, how to structure your answers, what content to deliver, how to meet mark scheme requirements and get full marks in the paper. I'm Jyotika Varmani, a private tutor for AQA and Oxford AQA Psychology GCSE and A levels. My students have been securing their A's and A stars. So if you want your classes with me, you can schedule them by reaching out to me on my WhatsApp number and email ID in the pinned comment and description box below. As I've been telling you, in today's lesson, we are covering section A. Soon I will be uploading the lessons for section B and section C as well. So stay tuned to this channel. Without further ado, let's begin with question 1. So the first question in May 25 was, outline two differences between episodic memory and procedural memory. Outline is an AO1 command term meaning description, meaning you do not give any strengths or weaknesses. It's not AO3, and you do not give any applications. Anyways, there's no scenario here, and it's not AO2, so no applications needed. Strictly description. Meaning what you have learned in the text, you have to answer this question from there only. It's a direct question. Two differences. Make sure when you present differences, you use terms like whereas, while. What you need to do are direct comparisons. Many students treat a difference question just as a describe question. So, what they would do is one paragraph would be only about episodic memory, and the next paragraph would be only about procedural memory. That is not how you answer a difference question, that's how you answer a describe question. Difference means directly compare the two concepts. So, how you think about it before answering is, in your mind, first think of 2 points on which these two types of memory differ. For example, one point coming to you might be the type of content that is stored in them, and another point coming to you might be conscious awareness of these memories. Yet another point could be, say, that they are time stamped or not. Do they contain information of when they were formed within them? Maybe you can think of more points. Choose two of them. First of all, finalize two that you want to give, because they ask for two. Anything more than two that you give will not be credited. Then structure your answer in a way that in your first point you discuss one difference, present both sides with respect to this difference, episodic and procedural. In the next point, you take up the next point of difference, again present both sides, episodic and procedural, with respect to this point. This might seem abstract right now, so let's see the model answer to understand this better. One difference is in what they store. Can you see how the difference has been pointed out first? A very good way of beginning, signposting. Telling the examiner, look, this is what I'm going to talk about, what they store. And then talking about each episodic and procedural memory with respect to this point, what they store. Episodic memory stores personal events, procedural memory stores how to perform skills. Examples also given, which is great but not necessary. If it feels like it's becoming very lengthy, you can't manage your time, you can skip the examples. Also, very importantly, the term whereas has been used to show both the sides, to compare them against each other. This is the perfect way of writing. At any time, you can pause the video, take a screenshot if you need to refer to any answer further. I will most probably put up these answers on my website, but I have a lot to post over there, so it can take some time. So in the meanwhile, you can take some screenshots for further reference. Okay, so this is how the first point has been written. The second point has been written in the same way. Another difference is how do we recall them. So this is again signposting. Then, first, referring to episodic memories with respect to how to recall, conscious awareness. We have to put conscious effort to recall them. And procedural memories without conscious thought. Can you see the comparative term used here, while? So, while has been used to compare. Any difference based question, make sure to answer in this way. Another tip, if instead of difference, they're asking you for similarity, again structure it in the same way. Point out one similarity is this, then show the first side with respect to that similarity, then give a joining term like similarly or likewise in the same way and give the other side as well. So that is how you answer comparison questions. I know I'm not reading out the full model answers, that makes the video very lengthy. Anytime you can pause and you can read the full answer to understand it better. In fact, I encourage doing that. Pause, read the answer completely so that you are able to see exactly how it has been written. Not that you have to write exactly the same answer, but so that you don't miss out on any key elements of the answer. So that was for the outline answer. You have, just to remind you, about 1 minute per mark in an AQA A levels paper. This video, I hope even AQA UK students are watching this, because these questions, these topics are in your syllabus as well. So whether you are an AQA student or an international Oxford AQA student, you have 1 minute per mark. So make sure you're able to write this 4 marker in 4 minutes. Time yourself, practice handwritten, and make sure you're able to write it in 4 minutes. If not, you require more practice. Keep practicing till you can reach that point. Okay, let's move to question 2. What is meant by post event discussion? What is meant? AO1 again. So again, only description, no application, no evaluation. Post event discussion. Not a difficult question at all, I know. But the gravest mistake students make here is giving only 1 point, which qualifies for only 1 mark. If it is 2 marks, make sure you give 2 points. Definitely, if they're asking you what is meant by something, outline something, describe, define, definition is going to be the very first thing you give. You always begin with the definition. So that is like earmarked. That first point has to only be definition. Next is up to you, but make sure there's another point. Make sure only definition is not what you're giving. So, for example, you can give an example. After defining what post event discussion is, give an example of what it can be like, or give some experimental evidence. That is also kind of example, like in this research, this is how post event discussion was studied. Or alternatively, just give some further elaboration, give some additional feature of post event discussion, or contrast it with something else that also comes within factors that distort memory. After all, what is post event discussion? Where did you study it? Factors that distort memory, eyewitness recall. So give something else, give something like a leading question and contrast how post event discussion is different from that. You have so many options for a second point. What is important is to give a second point for a second mark. Do not expect that only by giving the definition you're going to get 2 marks. Okay, let's look at the model answer. Post event discussion occurs when witnesses talk to each other about what they have seen after an event, right? So, this is the definition. Now, the next point is a feature of it. It can cause witnesses to incorporate misinformation from others into their memory. This is what it does. This is its implication. So, very simple model answer with definition as the first point, and its implicative feature or implication as the second point. Alternatively, you can give an example of how witnesses might do post event discussion. For example, if they've seen a bank robbery, they might later discuss what the robber looked like. That is an example of post event discussion. Okay, let's come to the next question. Outline the procedure of one research study that investigated post event discussion. When they say one research study, the biggest mistake is not to name a specific study and just give very generically what happens in these type of studies which have post event discussion. I think the question is very direct and clear here. One research study, yes, they're giving you a choice of which study you want to take, but does not mean that you don't give any study. and generally refer to research done in this area. Study means particular research investigation. Outline is again an AO1 command term. So you just have to describe what you've seen. It's worth 3 marks. Make sure to give 3 points. Make sure to name the study that you're talking about. Very important to remember names. Yes, you can write without naming, but the problem is students are not very clear when they describe. They're not very specific in describing the study. I will again explain to you when we look at the model answer what the issue is here. So it's best if you can name the study. I strongly recommend that. And yeah, one more very important thing, common mistake. Procedure is very clearly asked for. I can't emphasize on this enough. But still giving results. Giving one line, okay, participants had to do this, then this is what the researchers found. They haven't asked you for results or giving aims or giving sample details. When they're asking you for procedure, and in research methods, you've learned procedure is one part of a research investigation. You cannot go beyond that boundary of what comes under procedure to start describing other things. Alternatively, they could have asked you for the results of the study. In that case, you wouldn't give the procedure. So make sure this is a rule that applies to answering any question on the paper. You always address exactly what is asked in the question. You don't exceed that boundary ever. Okay, now what is procedure of a study? What was the task in the study? What did participants do? What did researchers do? There must be so much in whichever study you have learned. Just pick up any 3 points from there and give, as simple as that. In the textbook, the Gabbard et al. Study is given as a key study. I'm talking about the Oxford AQA official textbook right now, but Gabbard is also included in all the AQA textbooks if you're a UK AQA student. So that's the most popular one. That is why that is only taken in the model answer. It's okay if you do not remember the year. I would not recommend or insist on remembering the year, but name, like I said, do try to specify Gabbard et al. Okay, so what did participants have to do in the study? They had to watch the same crime. They were in pairs when they were watching it. One participant got to see a different viewpoint of the same crime, another participant got to see a different one. Then post event discussion took place because they discussed it with each other. But then they were individually tested, one at a time, they were tested for what they had seen. And a control group who did not discuss the event was used for comparison. Definitely, this answer gets 3 marks. 3 points are given. Specific procedures outline what participants had to do. It is restricted to that, not giving any aims, results, and a specific study, Gabbard et al. Is mentioned. Now, earlier I was telling you about how some answers might refer to research in general instead of looking at a specific study. Now that we've seen the model answer, I'll make it more clear to you what point I was trying to make there. Some students would say, in researches of this type, meaning of post event discussion, participants are asked to watch videos, then they are asked to discuss it with each other, then they are asked to report to the researcher what has happened. Can you see how this answer is different from that sort of a general description? It tells you exactly what was done in Gabbard's study. They watched the same crime, different viewpoints, then discussed and reported. So, whatever is given is very specific to this study. It's not being said in general in researches of this type, this is done, because this is not always the case. Gabbard had the ingenious idea of making participants watch the same video and then making them discuss. Other studies have been done differently on post event discussion. For example, in some studies, participants have sat together after being witness to a real life crime and then they have discussed. Some studies have been post facto, after they've actually discussed or read in the newspapers what they've seen in real life. Then their distorted memory has been investigated. So don't broadly assume that whatever was done in Gabbard is done in all researches of this area. That is not the case. That's why you have to talk about Gabbard and make it specific to their study. Okay. Now coming to a slightly different question. So far we have seen only descriptive ones. This is a one AO3 evaluation question. One strength has been asked. For any question that asks you for evaluation, strength, weakness becomes an AO3 question. Sometimes they just say evaluate, it's up to you to take a strength or weakness. Here clearly they've asked for a strength. They've asked for research into event discussion. Here they haven't emphasized on one study. But since in the previous you've described one study, the best thing to do is to critically evaluate that study itself. Whenever you write a three marker, many times I've told you peel format, do follow that. You can see any of my previous videos to understand what the peel format is in details. You can see some exclusive videos are there on my channel answering the 20 mark or the 12 marker. Watch those to understand what the peel format is. Even the 16 marker, though in Oxford AQA you do not get a 16 marker, but it's useful nonetheless in how to structuring answers. So here I will show you how it is done, but I won't go into that much depth because I have other answers to cover. What you do in a peel format is first you name what is the strength that you're going to be talking about. Very similar to signposting that I had hinted at earlier, that real world application. This is what is going to be discussed. So just naming strength is real world application. Next is to give evidence. Okay, real world application, but that is the case with many studies. In this particular study, what is the real world application? The study has shown that memory can be distorted through contamination, meaning discussing with others. So that can improve police practice. Officers can know that they should instruct witnesses not to discuss events with each other and then they should interview them. So this is a specific application that comes from Gabbard study. This is called giving evidence or a very concrete example after making a point. Then explaining why this is a strength, because it helps to preserve the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. We know eyewitness testimony is a very important area. It has implications for criminals being caught and crime being prevented and treated in society. So definitely we need to improve accuracy of how we understand it, and that is what this study is helping us to do. So that is explanation, explaining why its application is a strength. So you can see the peel format, I hope. And finally, link meaning. What does this increase in the study? Generalizability, reliability, application validity, or ethics, the five parameters we use to evaluate any study. In this case, it increases reliability because uh, if eyewitness testimony improves in this way, it will be very consistent. We can rely or trust the testimony given by eyewitnesses. The most common mistake here is to not develop a full peel point. Rather, first of all, even though one strength is asked, giving multiple strengths. So, say for Gabbard study, I've learned a list of strengths like control is there, standardization is there, manipulation is there, quantitative data is collected. So, just going on naming one after the other, not elaborating on any of them. So, first of all, when one strength is asked for, they're going to ignore. Even if you present a list of five, six and strengths, they're just going to take the first one and cut out all the other. Not that they'll deduct your marks, but they're not going to give you credit for writing all that. And in the beginning, I reminded you, you have only 1 minute per mark. So, it's a sheer waste of time to keep on writing something that's not going to be credited. Instead of giving that long list of as many points as you have jotted down, pick any one point, like in this case, real world application, and develop it into a full peel point. What is peel? If you go to see, naming a strength, then giving some context to it, specific example, then giving reasoning behind it. Why is it a strength? What advantage does it give to the study? That's it. So just present that strength in that way instead of listing out number of strengths without elaborating on any. So make sure you give it in this way, then you get full 3 marks. Now let's come to the next one. Very predictably, the next is the limitation of research into post-event discussion. I don't have much to add to what I said to the previous. We're going to follow the same structure. It's just that instead of strength, this time we'll be discussing a weakness. So directly I'll explain to you the model answer. So first we name the limitation lacking ecological validity. So point. Artificial stimuli are used like video clips, like we saw in the Gabbard study. Evidence. Many studies are artificial or lack ecological validity. What exactly is artificial in this study? That video clips of crimes are used. that they do not represent the stress and emotional arousal that participants feel when they watch real world crime. While watching a video, they do not have a very strong emotional response to it. Why is this a weakness? Because in a genuine crime, different processing would take place. So these sort of studies do not reflect what impact real world post event discussion has on eyewitness testimony. So explanation. And finally, the link. This reduces generalizability to real world situations. Ecological validity was already mentioned as such in the beginning. But another way of looking at it is it will not generalize to real world settings. So instead of just writing the same thing all over again, lack of ecological validity, it is explained a little more specifically. Okay, then we have a different type of question, an AO2 question. The moment a scenario is given, we should know it's AO2 because definitely whatever they ask us, they will expect us to apply it to the scenario. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given a scenario like this. So let's read the scenario. Zainab sees a car accident when she's walking home from school. A small red car has hit a big blue car. Later that day, a police officer interviews Zainab about the car accident. Explain how the police officer would question Zainab about the car accident using the cognitive interview. AO2 has very simple CCL structure: content, context, link, or context, content, link. Either way, you just make sure you cover all of them. Context means you use specific wording from the scenario and keep linking to the points that you're making. Content means whatever concept it is with respect to which you're linking the situation, you explain that. You show your understanding for it. And link means finally you reconcile what you have given in the context and content, you integrate them together. Again, might seem abstract. So let's look at the model answer. Before that, just when they ask you to apply some process like a cognitive interview, just try to remember and list in your mind what are the elements used in that, what are the stages or what are the processes. And then you can put each of them in a CCL format. So, one thing that is done in cognitive interview is remember everything or recall everything. Another is reinstate the context. Another is changed order. And yet another is changed perspective, right? So just keep these in mind and then develop each of them in a CCL format. It's as simple as that. Trust me, you can get full marks. The reason students don't get full marks in this answer is they will just list out these in their mind because they've learned cognitive interview very well. Everyone knows it's an important topic. But then they will just define each of the elements. They'll not talk about Zainab at all when they're giving the elements. Why do you think the board will give you a full situation of Zainab if they don't want you to refer to it? Doesn't make sense, right? So don't lose out marks unnecessarily for the obvious. Make sure you link back every point to Zainab so that you can score full. It's not difficult at all. At the most, it requires a little practice. Otherwise, even if you think about it logically, you will be able to do it very easily. So now I'll explain to you with the help of the model answer. Police officer could ask Zainab to report everything. So report or recall everything, that element is taken. Then the content. Content meaning it's explained. What is this reporting everything? Just say everything that is even seemingly minor or irrelevant. That is known as reporting everything. How can Zainab do that? She can report the shades of the cars that she saw, like the colors of the cars, any sounds that she heard. So, can you see how concrete examples are given that are relevant to Zainab, the car accident? That is known as given context. Most students will stop at what I've highlighted in blue. They will just say, okay, this is reporting everything. They'll tell Zainab, say everything minor and irrelevant. What is minor and irrelevant potentially when someone sees one car colliding with another? Give examples of that. That is known as given context. Okay, and here, as such, link is not separately given, but it's understood. It has been linked because when the word such as has been used after defining the content, to link it to the context. This is what report everything means, and such as this is how she should do it. A reconciliation has been done. Context and content have been integrated together as one unit. So, this is known as the CCL format. This is for the first element of cognitive interview. Actually, for 6 marks, even if you give three elements, it's enough. Each is worth 2 marks. Each CCL point is worth 2 marks. Typically, like the peel is worth always 3 to 4 marks. So CCL is worth 2 marks. But if you want, because there are only four methods in the cognitive interview, you can be safe by giving four. But even if you give three, trust me, if you give them in correct CCL format like we saw, you'll get full marks. Okay. Next, the student names, reinstating the context. Again, content wise, it's explained. What does it mean to reinstating the context? Imagining the environment like the weather. So, all this is content. What you have learned about reinstating the context in your textbook. How can Zainab do it? We see something about she was walking home when she saw the car accident. So, exact wording used from there that she was walking home. The police can tell her to remember what she could see, what she was feeling when she was walking home, made specific to Zainab. So, this is context. Again, the link is implicit, it is there. So, because such as what she was seeing, what she was hearing, the 2 points have been integrated together. This is the content, this is the context, and this is how they are related. Let's look at the next element. Recall events in a different order. Again, content is given, starting from the moment and working backwards. That is what it means. How can it be made specific to Zainab? Because first she can report the crash, the impact that took place, and then she can go backwards to what happened before the crash. So, reverse order. First, what is reversing the order is explained in general, and then in Zainab's case, it would mean okay, what happened after the car crash to what happened just before it. That way, context is given, and again, the points are inherently linked. Okay, in fact, even the context and content is linked quite together because it has to be fitted into 6 marks. That's why I believe the student has put it in just 2 sentences. If you tend to miss out, like here the student is bright and has in very brief managed to give context, content, link, everything, you can take 3 sentences, one for content, one for context, one for link. That's fine. You just have to write a little faster. So for example, you could say Zainab could be asked to recall in different order, which means working backwards in her memory. That's content. Then you could say, for example, she could be asked what happened after the car crash and then to report backwards what happened just before it. Context. This means that she will be able to remember things in the opposite order in which they occurred. Link. If you want, you can elaborate it that way. If that ensures that you give context, content as well as link. If you're not able to do it inherently like this student has done, just make sure all the three elements are there to get full marks. Finally, changed perspective. What is changed perspective? How things could look from a different viewpoint. So this is the content. What is the context? How does it apply to Zainab? How the accident might have looked at like to the driver of the blue car or to a pedestrian who was walking by. Again, very specific examples of whose perspective we could take if a car accident is taking place. So very relevant to what is said about Zainab. And link again is inherent, like how it could be done by this. So context, content have been linked. So throughout a CCL format has been followed. Nowhere is the answer generic. Nowhere does it not refer to Zainab, and that is why it gets full 6 marks. There is a conclusion at the end, which I would strongly say you omit. There is no credit given for a conclusion. It's not like the answer will be deducted of some marks, no, but nothing special about it. So save time and move ahead. Okay, an interesting question on describing the multi-store model of memory. Very commonly asked and AO1 entirely. Very simple, very easy to get marks because this is one of the first topics you learn and one of the most favorite topics of students. 6 marks, 6 points. AO1, after all, no evaluation, no application. So, what do? You just give 6 points to secure your 6 marks. For MSM, like for all these like 6 markers, MSM is there, WMM is there, reconstructive memory. I suggest, you, or even cognitive interviews, there you have your outlines ready. In preparation, what you should do is, if a 6 marker is to come, which is the highest marks for a purely descriptive question, these are the points I would cover. MSN has one of the most straightforward outlines that you can prepare. That's why it's so scoring. There are three stores. Each has a capacity, coding, and sorry, duration, right? So these three elements are there, and then there are three processes that help transmission across the stores. Just describe these, and easily you have given 6 points to secure. In fact, even structuring or organization is so easy. Name one store. For example, sensory memory, give its coding capacity, duration. Even if you don't give all, it's okay. Give one or two. And then describe the process which helps information to go from SM to STM. Repeat. Right? So, all the three stores you can cover in this way. It's very difficult to lose marks in the MSM answer. It's so linear, it's so straightforward. Why students lose marks is giving vague type of details. I forgot to include the mark scheme here. If you look at the mark scheme, the level 2 mark band which is there, it'll say like description is vague. And students' description falls in vague. Why? They will say something like capacity is average, little bit, little more. Duration is about a minute. That will not score in the highest mark band, level 3, because that requires exact details. Whether you like it or not, you have to memorize certain facts. These are very fundamental concepts in psychology. So, for example, remembering that STM has a capacity of 7 plus or minus 2 items, so its duration is 18 to 30 seconds. There's no avoiding that. You have to remember these type of facts to score your full marks. Okay, so now let's see the model answer to be perfectly clear. It's made of three separate stores. Then sensory register is named, its capacity is given, very large. Duration less than a second. Is it said duration is very less? No, exactly less than a second. Coding has not been given. You can give it, like, for example, visual, iconic. You won't be able to cover all the types of coding possible, but you could give one or two. And like I said, it's okay even if you skip. So here it isn't given, but marks will not be deducted. Already enough information is given in terms of points. Then the process is named, like attention is the process which transfers information from SM to ST. Same way, short term memory, capacity, duration, your coding is also given, acoustic. And maintenance rehearsal, elaborate rehearsal to either maintain in short term memory or pass on to long term memory. Same thing for long term, unlimited capacity, duration, lifetime, coding, semantic, retrieval as the process to bring back to ST. Okay, so easy, 6 marks. Okay, and then we come to the very final question of this section. So there's been no 12, 20 marker essays. Definitely we'll see in the next section. Limitation of MSM. I have nothing new to offer you. Follow the Peel format. Take only one limitation, whatever I advised before about 3 marker AO3 type of questions. So let's look at the answer directly. Point is, limitation is very reductionist or oversimplified. Evidence, specifically why is this one said to be reductionist? Because STM, LTM are taken as single stores. Here the student only talks about LTM because they intend to elaborate that further. So we know Tulving has shown three types of LTM: episodic, semantic, procedural. That shows that when MSM did not consider that LTM can be three types, it ended up being very reductionist. So this is the evidence why it is reductionist, because Telving's three types of LTM are not included in this original model. What is the explanation? Why is this a weakness? Because it cannot explain. There's so many cases like we've seen HM and KF where one sort of memory is lost in long term but the other sort remains. Like say for example, they cannot remember episodes for their life from their life, but they can remember procedures, like was the case with HM. Even semantic memory was quite good. So why that happens? Why does all of LTM not get damaged if it's a unitary store? That is something MSM cannot explain. So finally linking it, this means that it barely has any application to everyday life. The student hasn't given the explicit link, but it's okay, it's implied. So they won't lose any marks, but just to be safe or just to follow the full peel format, you can say barely applicable to everyday life, and you can end it that way. Okay, so I hope you have seen in all the answers, like in this one particularly, very good example of how you are specific in giving your points. Detail in psychology. Like one section has so much AO1, AO3 details, very important. Detail means not giving lengthy answers. None of the answers I showed you are unnecessarily lengthy. It's not like 3, 4 paragraphs are written to justify 3 marks. What is detail? Specificity. That is detail. Not beating around the bush. Like LTM is limited. All types of LTM are not discussed. LTM can be many types. Not necessarily LTM is unitary store. Just to increase the length, going on repeating the same thing in different words and being vague about it. Like, okay, if LTM is not of one type, then which types is it? That is the question that will come to anybody. So detailed answer means just say that. Say which are the types. Episodic, semantic, procedural. That's what Talving's found. That was also in your syllabus. Very easy to remember. That is known as detail. Not reiterating the same thing just to add length to the answer, but giving some depth, meaningful knowledge that you have taken from the topic to show that you actually understand what it means. When you keep on repeating the same thing over and over, it shows like you don't know what it actually means. You're just making a terrible, like, desperate attempt to somehow score marks. Okay, so that's why practice preparation is very important, so that you can write these sort of answers like you can see on the screen. Alternatively, for this one, same thing could be said that STM hasn't been conceptualized as working memory, and its components like a visuospatial sketchpad, a phonological loop, episodic buffer, central executive have not been considered, which Badley and Hitch have done in their model. That would be a detailed criticism in terms of limitation of STM as a unitary tool. So, as I've advised you before, take screenshots, repeatedly read the model answers till you can see exactly how these answers serve the typical requirements in the mark scheme: detail, understanding, effective evaluation, specialist terminology. You can see some of my previous videos also have discussed these things a lot. Like very recently, the Jan 25 video, which I had put in that. So if you feel anything I haven't covered here, you will be able to see this. Effective organization, focus, clarity. You'll be able to see all of these. Take it as a homework from my side, that keep these parameters that you repeatedly see in the mark scheme in front of you, and when you're reading the model answers, see how it is meeting all of them. When you're able to see clearly, okay, this is how it meets this criteria, you'll be able to write answers of the same type. So with that, I'm ending the video here for today. Section B will be the next video. If you have any feedback or questions about the videos that I make, please leave them in the comments box. I will not be able to answer them if you contact me personally. Thank you for watching this video, and all the best for your coming papers.